Welcome to the Books and Beer Book Club, coming to you from Cercis Brewing Company in Columbus, Wisconsin. We're a different kind of book club, only reading books by authors who can visit us in person or via Zoom for the discussion. We've been going strong since 2015, meeting nearly every month. We're now making these fun and informative discussions available to you on video. I'm your host, Valerie Beal. I'm an author myself, and I enjoy interviewing our guest authors and facilitating the questions from our readers both in person and on Zoom. We hope you enjoy this replay. To join us live, please check out our schedule on our Facebook page at Books and Beer Columbus. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. This is exciting. You know, it's fun to read a book about Chicago because there's so many places I recognize and stuff in it. So that was really enjoyable too. I briefly met you at BoucherCon. I can't remember the panel discussion was it what it was about. It was so much fun then and I hadn't read your books at that point, I shall admit. But then I went ahead and read these. And what I like to do is I like to read them as close to as possible to our discussion. So I read, Hyde, is Hyde the first one? Hyde in this series, Hyde. And then on like Sunday, I read Fall Monday into Tuesday. And then I read Echo yesterday into about 4 o'clock today.
Wow.
Because
fast.
well, you know, and it's fun for me to read them that close, just because then all these characters are just like so fresh in my mind. And I read your bio online, so I know that you always wanted to be a writer, put that in your bio. But I'm curious how you came to writing in this genre, the thriller, PI, police genre. And I know the first book was 2018 in your other series.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I'm curious what your trajectory was and how long were you writing? Because it always looks like people are overnight successes, ha ha ha, right? But we know that there's an awful lot of work that comes before that. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I started really writing at 12. So I was one of those weird kids who always had a book in my pocket or on my person. And I had a notebook under my mattress that I would write little stories in. And nobody saw that. That was just me. Just trying things out, and I sort of mimicked what I was reading, Amelia Bedelia and Harriet the Spy and Agatha Christie and all the rest of those, and I just kept doing it. And then I got to the point where I want to see whether or not I can actually do this. And so there came decades of frustration and rejections, and it took me over 20 years to get published. 20 years. I mean, that's a lot of time to sort of keep yourself motivated and sort of moving forward. But, I'm pig-headed enough and stubborn enough to sort of realize that I could stop. It's really easy to stop. I mean, not writing is easy. It's easy to stop writing.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
hard to sort of keep yourself writing, especially when you're getting no, 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 and no, 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 no all over the place. And by the time I got that first email that says, "Hey, we're interested in publishing your book," I had like a stack of rejection letters, almost this thick, because I just kept doing it. Just because, that's how I kind of do. That's kind of how I roll. I kind of knew that these characters were worth reading and worth writing about, and I just had to find that one person out there, that one editor, that one agent who sort of believed in what I was seeing. And it took a while, but you kind of have to wait for your shot to come. I guess that's what it is. You just keep doing it until your shot comes in, and when it comes in, you're usually ready because that wasn't wasted 20 years. I mean, I was actually writing and getting better at it and figuring out how to angle things and tell a different story or a better story and how to develop characters more fully. So it was continual getting better at it, getting better at it. And then when your shot comes in, you're ready for it. There you are. And then you're off to the races. So overnight success took more than 2 years. You know, it happens when it's supposed to happen.
Oh, I know what you mean, though. It's funny because people don't always see all those years of work, right? They don't understand that or know that exactly, unless they're a writer. And there are other writers here with us tonight who I know understand this. If you see, we've got Sylvia and Larry and Mary, who are all writers as well, who are Zooming in with us tonight. So yes, we get that. Now, I'm curious if in those 20 years, were you initially working on the Chicago Mystery Series?
No, that was the first voice that sort of popped into my head, Cass. I would have been living with Cass for, I don't know, almost 30 years now. I mean, that's the first voice that sort of popped into my head. She would not go away. She's kind of persistent. She's kind of, strong-minded. And so that was the voice that I worked on. So the voice was there, and then I sort of hit the blank page, and there she was in all of her glory. And then I just sort of wrote stories around her, and the other characters sort of populated as they sort of popped into my head too. She
Mhm.
needed a world to sort of navigate in, but the voice came first, the character was there, and then her world sort of opened up as I sort of went through it. But I don't have an outline. Most people know that about me. I'm weird that way. I'm a pantser. I,
Yes.
I've tried. I've really tried. I've really tried to write an outline. I cannot do it. My brain does not work that way. And so the character was there, the setting was there, Chicago, and then her world, the people who she sort of put in her purview. So yeah, so it's a lot of picking my way along, following this voice, having the story sort of pop out of her experience and whether or not she's sort of serving her community and also her profession. So we've got all of those sort of plates spinning at the same time. And it's been a lot of years sort of perfecting that as much as I can do it. I don't think you ever
Mm.
get to a point where you know everything and sort of, I know how to tell the perfect story. You're never going to get there. But you do the best that you can with the story that you've got and with the characters that you've got. And if you can get yourself better each time out, uh, you're winning. So yeah, the cast came first, the voice, the characters, the setting, and then years and years of preparation.
We also have another author here, Greg Renz, who knows the pain of submission.
Oh yeah, you sort of early on. I sort of when you had to mail it in, you had to actually put it in an envelope
Yes. Oh my
and
gosh, right?
write the stamp on it and send it to the agent or whatever. And I would have my mom kiss the envelope just for good luck. Just
Oh,
for
I
good luck.
love it.
Right. And then like a couple of a month or so, the rejection letter would come back.
Uh,
That didn't work. So, but we'll keep on, keep going. Maybe the next kiss
well,
will be it.
and I think, it's interesting too, because that's, it's a lot of grit and tenacity to stick with it. And I think that
Very true.
your characters are like that too, right? I think they
Yeah.
are.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they're doing different things. They're not writers, but I do think that there's a lot of tenacity there. So, the first book in that Chicago mystery series, I mean, that was honored with, some really good award, not like nominations. Or did you win? Did you win for
No.
the but like the lefties at Left Coast Crime for, best debut. I mean, that had to be really gratifying after, just to be acknowledged in that way after, so long with your debut novel.
It is nice, because you work so hard on it and you want it to be as good as you can make it,
Mhm.
and to sort of have that sort of validation come back from your peers is a nice
Mhm.
thing. It's a nice thing to sort of settle in your heart, but then you have to write the next one, so
Yeah, exactly.
none of those people are sitting in your writing room.
So how many are in the Chicago Mystery Series?
I've got four in that one, and then I've got the Harriets, and I have four in that. And then
Right.
I'll take a break and write a standalone, and we'll see whether or not I come back to Harriet or not. But I'll sort of end it in a spot where it's satisfying for me and also hopefully for the reader. So, you know, we'll give Harriet a
So
break.
I love Harriet. I love Harriet with all of her, oh my gosh, so many things about her. And I'm fascinated by her layers. And I'm also fascinated that you aren't a plotter, that you go in, and I'm sure you go in with ideas of where you're going to go, but then you leave what I say is like leaving room for the magic so that, with these twists and turns. I like how your mind works as a writer because of the way you put together these thrillers and Harriet too. I mean, like here you've got somebody with these layers of grief. Did she come to you? Like, was she the inspiration for these? Was like, do you usually get inspired by the character that's like bugging you in your head? And then, how did she come about with all these layers?
Well, unlike Cass, Harriet said diddly squat to me. I did not hear her voice in my head. I had to actually go out there and find her. And I met her on the sidewalk in Hyde, just like the reader met her. And that's all I knew about her. I gave her a little complication. Gave her a partner who had supposedly committed suicide. I gave her a dead son. I gave her an ex-husband. Okay, I figured that was enough weight to sort of get her through the door.
I mean, these are layers, really serious layers of grief.
Yeah, because you've got to work your way through all of that, right? So I put her on that sidewalk with all of this on her back, and then I put her through the door and give her the worst possible partner that I can give her. Another little weight on the scale, and then that's not enough. So I give her a serial killer case right off the bat. So she's coming off personal leave. All of these things have happened to her, the worst possible partner, and a serial killer case, and then we are off to the races. Now we'll see what she's made of, because that's
Right.
sort of see what characters are. You sort of put them in these impossible situations and see whether or not they sink or swim. And so I gave Harriet as much weight as humanly possible, and then we see where she is. We see where she goes. Then we give her Vera Lee, who sort of sees her coming through the door. This is the partner she was meant to have, and then these
Yes.
two characters together have to figure out not only the work that they do, but Vera has to sort of figure out how to get Harriet out of this hole she's in. So she's doing the professional and also the personal at the same time, and this yin and yang sort of playing off of each other. It sort of keeps the energy going and the tension going and the conflict going, because it's not easy. They don't get along right away. They are not friends right away.
Right.
They have to work on this relationship. So little by little, Harriet is sort of digging herself out of the hole she's in. And then I think she's better in book 4 that I'm writing now than she was in book 1. And that's what you want for characters. You want them to sort of change. They have to do something. They can't stay in the same spot when we meet them as they are in book 4 or 5 or whatever. There's got to be some kind of movement. And so that's been my job, to sort of figure out what's going to move her to the next phase, and whether or not that's going to be 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It's all change, it's all movement, it's all conflict, it's all churn. I love churn.
Well, and it's interesting too that she's now moved into the house that that is the front yard where her son died. She has purchased this house post divorce, I guess. And I mean, it's just like that everyday thing. And her house is so bare, right? She doesn't really live there. She kind of just exists in this space. But you're so good at making us understand the depths of her grief and that fact that she's still moving forward. I'm also curious, though, I mean, obviously, when you're doing a series, you've got to have satisfying books within that series. So you've got, the actual case that concludes at the end of the book, but then you've also got this wonderful series arc, like you talked about, with the growth of the characters through that. Does that really come like kind of naturally to you as you're doing this, or do you have to really think that through, like the series arc versus the actual individual book arc?
I don't give much thought to it. I sort of follow Harriet. Um, the good thing about police procedurals is it's sort of like an outline, even though you don't have one. Um, Police do things in a orderly fashion, right? They don't A, B,
Sure.
C. They're steps, and so that's kind of like having a roadmap. But I'm following the characters. It's character first for me always, and I've given Harriet something that she's got to deal with, and that sort of moves me forward as the writer. I try to figure out what angles she's going to take, what road she's going to take, because she doesn't want to go anywhere. As you said, she lives in a house with nothing in it. She's facing the tree where her son died. The house is bare. She's got zero in her refrigerator. She is wonderful on the job. When she goes home and takes that badge and that gun off, she's stuck in one spot and she doesn't know how to get herself out of it. So that's the challenge for me, trying to figure out
Mhm.
what's going to fill her life up. What's going to get her back to where she was, because she doesn't even have a couch. I mean, who doesn't have a couch? I mean, you have to have a couch. Where are you going to sit? I mean, anyway, she's got that one chair, right? The one chair faces that window. The window faces that tree, and that's her life. And so
Yep.
now the challenge for me, the really fun part of sort of developing this character layer by layer, is trying to figure out what is that thing going to be that's going to move her out of that hole into another hole, into a better hole, into a life that she used to have. So it's kind of fun to sort of figure out what that is, because I don't know what the plan is. I don't know from arcs. I just put the characters there and try to figure out what they do to make themselves better. So somewhere in there, I find an arc. Readers sort of find one. It's not intentional. It should be, but that's not what happens. That's not the way my brain goes. It just doesn't.
But it works in the end because you're methodical in the way you write, that it comes out. Like you've got the story in you that, I mean, it works. I mean, these are brilliantly written. And I read a ton. I mean, so like, and I don't give everybody that praise. So
Thank you.
I
Appreciate
mean,
it.
and I'm just like one reader out here, but brilliant, just brilliant. And I also like the way you were able to give us some nugget of compassion, sort of, for most of the bad characters. Like, even if we aren't, sort of going, okay, like I get it. We sort of understand perhaps the proclivities or their mental illness or where they got hung up in life that made them do what they wanted to do. I'm dancing around this because I know not everybody in here has read everything. And you come to Books and Beer and you might get spoilers. So I feel bad about that. But anyway, so I might not, I'm trying to be careful who all has that. But not everybody read all of them, right? You did too? Okay. Well, all right. I'll be careful to an extent. You're also like so good at putting in the clues, red herring or clue. We don't know, right? We're the reader going, huh. And there was the moment when a certain female character in book 2 says, oh, you can trust me. And I went, oh, no, 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 no. I was like, that's not true. I was getting nervous for her, but it might have been a red herring. Like I didn't know until much, much later, but you set the stage so well that, that of course the reader's not overly surprised, but you're also like, how could she? Like, I'm so just, like indignant about the whole like thing, with that particular female character. I'm being careful. No, a lot of mysteries are very, very direct. They're not very gorgeously written, if you will. I mean, they do the job. They're great. They're suspenseful, but you write in a very lyrical fashion.
Mhm.
And I was just marking different passages, and I was like, oh, this is such a pretty way to describe something, or such an accurate way, like where you're feeling like, the grit of the street, or like we know what Chicago wind feels like, but just describing some of those things. Do you feel like that comes in your first round, or do you have to go back and add some of those things in, or is it just, sometimes yes, sometimes no?
Well, I can sort of credit Dr. Seuss because I sort of write by rhythm, right? And I sort of learned that from his books. Everything rhymed, everything had a sort of a lyrical link to it. That's how I write. So it takes me not only just the first time, because first drafts are really crappy. Just to be honest. First drafts are crappy. You would not show them to your worst enemy. It's just there. It's just the clay. It's just something to start. But that sort of stuff is, you layer it just like you do your characters. You trying to sort of have it sort of sound right and sort of flow right. And that takes maybe 2 or 3 passes to sort of get that sort of rhythm going. But you try to make it pretty. You want your characters to be well developed. You want your setting and all of your craft elements to be functional. And do you also want it to sound good? So it takes a little time to sort of get that. It's like sort of painting a wall, one coat at a time. But you eventually get to a point where it sounds okay. You don't trip over the words as you're reading them to yourself. And when you get to that point, you're done. There's nothing else you can do to it. If you do, you'll probably wreck it. But you can hear it. You can hear it when it's okay. And so
Yep.
that's what I write for. I write for the point where I can say, okay, it says what I want it to say. It sounds okay. It sounds good to my ear. I think it's all right to sort of send it on. So, yeah, it might take 1 or 2 passes. It might take just one. I might get lucky on one chapter that I'm writing might sound pretty good, and I might not have to do anything to that. But I might take 4 or 5 times if it doesn't. So
Yeah.
there's no rhyme or reason to it. All writers know that. And you just keep on hacking away at it until it says what you need it to say, and it sounds good, looks good, everything looks good. Then you can send it on.
Have you been with the same publisher for both series?
No, the first was Kensington for the first
Okay.
2 books, and this second series is with Thomas and Mercer. So, it looks good.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I'm curious, you thank a number of retired and active duty police officers in your acknowledgments. I actually was talking to a retired Madison, Wisconsin police detective today who's writing a true crime book. I said, "Do you read, police procedurals?" I was asking her. She goes, "No, I don't, because sometimes the stuff is just so wrong." She goes, "Most police work is so boring."
Yeah, it is.
She said,
And
"It's
that's
so
the challenge.
tedious." I'm clearly you've gotten this right. You've got plenty of good advisors, but I think too, like, they're going through just so many, like, security camera videos, and it's just such a painstaking job, but you do a good job, to balance that out, because you surely can't show all of that or nobody keep reading, right? Because it'd
Right,
be
right.
just
Or
days and
writing.
days. Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. You'd be bored. You bore yourself with that, right?
Yeah.
How did you establish the relationships with them? I'm just curious how you got them on your writing advisory team, if you will.
Mhm. Well, luckily, I've got cops in my family, thank God, partners, and they have friends, and they have, so you don't just have that one or two people. You have a whole cadre of cops that you can sort of pick up the phone or email and say, "Hey, I put a body in the river walk. All right, what happens next?" And then, oh, they love to talk. They'll talk your ear off. The cops will talk your ear off. Okay, I took two couple homicide cops to lunch and to pick their brain. Why do you do this terrible job? Who would take it on a bet? Nobody. Okay, but what motivates you to keep on doing it? What's the satisfaction that you get out of it? What's the worst case you ever had? What is the funniest thing that happened to you on the job? Things like that. The little details. You might not use all of them. In fact, I don't. But it's just to sort of have that background, to sort of understand how they talk to each other, what they
Mhm.
say, what they don't say. There are things that a cop will not talk to you about, okay? And it's good to know what those
Right.
things are, even if I don't use it, because it gives you sort of a mindset of how they sort of go through their day, go through their entire careers, see the stuff that they see on a daily basis. I mean, they see some of the most horrendous things
Oh,
on a
yes.
on a shift, and then they have to go home and take that badge and that gun off and have a life, a family, wives, spouses, children, lives that they have to lead. And it's kind of difficult to do that when you've seen the most horrendous thing for the first 8 hours of your day. And so it's that's part of it. That part of the police work that I want to sort of capture. Not so much, what form do you fill out, or who do sort of answer to, but how do you do the job as a person, as a human being, as a woman, doing the
Right.
job that was not set up for you. I mean, the Chicago Police Department was not set up for female police officers. In fact, I don't think it was until 1974 that we actually had one that was on the streets. They were mostly matrons taking care of kids and things like that.
Ah.
1974, first patrol officers on the streets of Chicago. And, this department's not set up for you. And so there's that tension for that too. So we have Harriet and Vera there in a squad room full of men, old timers and young timers, and they have to find a way to sort of fit themselves into this puzzle. And so that's part of the conflict, the bureaucracy of the city hall, the bureaucracy of their department and their bosses, and all of those little tensions, all of those little itches, all of those little things contribute to their life arc and their character arc. So, I kind of like sort of digging into that.
Do they read for you after when you've got it all down? Like, do they beta read for you, any of them?
All right, no, I probably should beta read. I don't. Mostly because I'm really sort of clutchy with my stuff. And so the only person besides me, after I'm finished with whatever damage I can do, I send it to my editor, and that's the first person who reads it. And that's how it's been for all of the books, really. I haven't shown I don't have a beta reader. I don't have a group that I send the stuff to and sort of because you'll get a million
Mhm.
you'll get a million reactions, and then where are you? Okay, so now you've got all of these composing things that you have to sort of deal with. I don't. So it's me, my editor, agent, and we'll see what happens. If I have to change something, and I usually do minor things, then we do it as a group. But I'm looking at the story, I'm looking at character, I'm looking at flow, I'm looking at all of the little elements that I have to sort of put into this thing, and so far, knock wood, I've been okay, I think. So until I get to the point where I don't know where else to go, we'll see.
Well, you clearly have done your research, your due diligence on all of that too. I wondered if you had a police in your family, because I thought that it would make, sense with how you've written this, that you would have either close friends or family members who were on the force. I have a cousin who is a lieutenant in the Chicago Fire Department. So when I go hang out with him, there's a lot of cops around too. So there's a lot of first responders. And so I get what you're saying. Like they do like to tell their stories, which is great, great, research, and it's freely given. It's so awesome, right?
And they talk differently, don't they? You're talking so almost like a different language. It's English. We can understand what they're saying, but it's different. Okay. And I want to get that differentness. And I think I've sort of captured part of it. You can always get better at that. But you want to sort of make them feel that if your reader walked outside their house, you could see people exactly like that. And so
Yes.
that's what I'm sort of aimed for with, the characters like Samansky and Alarnigan and all of those. These people are real people. I want them to feel real and sound real. And the more I can do that, I think the closer I get to sort of telling a successful story. But you want your characters to be alive, even though they aren't.
Right. Well, and then like, just the times like the girl cop comments and,
Oh yeah.
oh, those happen.
Oh yeah.
I know that you have spent some time working in the newspaper business. Are you still doing that kind of day job work? You're editing, do you edit newspaper articles
Yep.
and
I do that as my day job, luckily, and now I do it from home. So my commute is like 2 minutes, which is great, especially in the wintertime. So January, I'm looking at the cold weather out there, and I'm sitting in my den with my, hot mug of tea. I said, "Oh, it doesn't look terrible out there. I don't have to go anywhere. I mean, it's wonderful." Early morning and I do my day job. And if something comes to me during that day, I sort of put it on a post-it note and that meets me the next morning. So I have this sort of dual thing going on. I kind of like the job that I do for the newspaper. I've been there almost 30 years and, it suits me. And so, it doesn't tax me that much. And so the writing and also editing, which makes my drafts kind of clean, which is thank
Mhm.
God, because that would be another hurdle to sort of face. So by the time I get to the end, it's pretty okay. And then I just have to, add the art to it.
Yeah, I bet your editor loves that you're a
I would
good
imagine that, yeah.
you're a good grammarian, right? Were you ever a reporter?
No, just editing. Reporting's too hard. I mean, you got to go out, you got to talk to people. Time for that.
So I was curious because I knew that I wasn't sure if you were still doing your editing work for the newspaper, but you have some fun with the persistent characters who are the news reporters who are, at the scene, getting in the way, badgering the cops for anything, any
And they're
state.
they're well suited for that. Reporters are well suited. I'm not. Okay. If somebody tells me I'm not talking to you, I say, all right, we'll see you next time. I mean, I don't have the I don't have that bulldog sort of a personality.
I mean, I get it. I have a journalism degree and I never actively worked
Yeah,
in that
too hard.
pursuit. So I don't know. I don't know. But the writing part was really good for, teaching, good things for the writing career part. As you move through each, because you're on sort of a schedule now, what is that like? Like how much time do you have between books? Like when do they need your rough draft? Or I guess it's not your rough draft by the time it gets to your editor, but like how is that timing? Because is it like it's one a year in December on this,
Right,
right?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I have about maybe 10 months of writing time. And then the rest of the time is back and forth revisions, looking at galleys and stuff like that. So 10 months writing solidly. And then whatever we sort of do from there, maybe a couple of months for that. And then one a year, I kind of like making donuts at the Dunkin' Donuts. The conveyor belt comes down, the donuts come down on there. I mean, so that's how my schedule is. So one a year keeps me quite busy. And then I'm sort of thinking about what the next book is going to be right now as I'm finishing this one. So in the back of my head, I'm sort of looking at body dumps, areas where I can put a body, characters, who's going to stumble upon this dead thing. So in the back of my head, as I'm writing this, um, you know, looking for ideas, looking for characters, looking for voices, waiting for them to show up.
Does that one have a title already?
You'll never
Tentatively?
find me, but that might change because I think there's
Okay.
another book that just came out with the same title. So I don't know.
Oh,
We'll work that out. We've got some time for that, but it'll be my first standalone. We'll see how that goes. Not a character, not a series character. So I've got to find a new person,
that's fun
somebody,
though.
somebody that excites me.
Do you like the jumping off point for that? I rather like it myself.
I think most writers sort of want to see what else they can do and want to sort of stretch their skills if they, if they can. So I've done two solid series characters. I like them. I think readers mostly like them. And so we'll see who else I can sort of come up with. It might be exciting for me and hopefully it's exciting for readers. And, we'll see. I might sort of fall flat on my face, but we'll see.
So I am in love with your covers. I think they're just so well done. Were you happy out of the gate with what they were providing to you?
Yeah, I love them.
Yeah.
I've loved the characters for the first series too. They were all great. I didn't have a single thing to say about them. So I do the inside, they do the outside, and so far it's worked.
Yeah, that's perfect. You'll take it, right?
I'll take it. Yeah.
So you're writing the standalone. Is it a Thomas and Mercer option book?
Yeah.
Okay. But have you written anything that your current publishing home didn't want? And that you
Nope.
had to, no, see, that's awesome.
Not yet.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna knock on wood here because I think I might have just jinxed things. I'm sorry.
After 20 years of nothing but rejection letters, I've sort of hit a lucky spot. I don't know how I got so lucky, but thank God I like it. It's great. So they've taken everything I've offered them so far. I think they've done pretty well so far, and I'm hoping that the standalone will be just as good, if not better than the other things, because you always want to sort of grow and get better and sort of expand yourself. And so, yeah, I've got good hopes for it. We'll see what happens.
Did I read that the first series was option for TV?
Yeah, I think the option sort of lapsed at this point, but yeah,
Okay.
right off the bat, option for television, I think Sony Television, which is again, I don't know how that happened, but whatever, it's great, it's wonderful. Just another validation. But
Good.
still, it's the words that sort of have to sort of rule you, right? I mean, film is something different. That's somebody else's baby. It's your story, it's your characters, but you've got nothing to do with whatever shows up at the end of that, production. The words are the only things that I can control, and that's what I work on. And that's what sort of gets me up at 5:30 in the morning with my V8 juice and my Twizzlers. That's my writing snack.
Wait. V8 juice and Twizzlers, did you say? At the same time?
Absolutely. Perfect combination. Okay, you got a
Ooh.
little
I
stuff there.
I am not sure I can get on board with that, but I'm willing to try it.
V8, wonderful. You get the healthy stuff in there. And then the Twizzlers, because they're long. And if you're sort of stuck in a spot, you chew on it a little bit by little bit. And by the end you get to the end, you've got either a solution to your problem, or you know that you have no solution to your problem and you need another Twizzler. So that's
Well, maybe we'll have to try Twizzlers and tomato juice and see what happens.
you might like it. Try it.
I don't know. I mean, whatever works for you. We're not gonna mess with your
I'm not gonna
mojo.
mess with it, yeah. Like wearing your lucky shoes. I mean, this is the combination that works for me.
Do we have questions? Does anybody have questions?
So, did you ever see a TV series that takes place in Chicago from a reporter and he works with the police in solving crimes, and it's called Code Shack, the Night Stalker?
Yeah, that's an old TV show, right? Yeah.
Pretty good because you go through a show of who done it, but you also go through the interactions at that time. So this would be in the mid-70s of the cops and the good guys and bad guys and the nosy news reporter who breaks rules and stuff like that.
And there's a bit of creepiness.
Yeah, a little bit of creepiness and Chicago creepiness.
That's how we do it. That's how we do it.
Did you know there's a certain yeah, of course you did, Chicago creepiness, but I think there's also Milwaukee creepiness and Madison creepiness.
We've got a special kind of creepiness because we got creepiness on layers. I mean, we've got corruption in our politics. Our city hall, I mean, come on. Our last 2 or 3 governors have gone to prison. We have a politician right now on trial for fraud. If you cannot write a crime novel in Chicago, you can't write one. You can't write one. It's ready-made.
And I thought too, like with book 2, with all of the city council members and stuff, I mean, I'm like, oh yeah, that's possible. That's completely, that's happened.
Came to me because my street light was out. Okay, my street light was out and it stayed out for months. Okay, you call the alderman's office. Oh yeah, we'll get right to it. Months go by. Okay, so now I'm looking for a new idea for the next book. The first body that I dump on there is an alderman. Alderman's got to die. Okay, so that's the first one. And then another 2 or 3 expire unexpectedly. And so that is because my street light was out, and that's what happened. Okay, so that's how writers roll.
Oh my, did you get your streetlight fixed ever?
After a while, because you have to either, this is what you do. You have to either threaten to go to the newspapers, or somebody has to die on your street when the street light's out, and then they're out before the police come. So it's either one or two things happen. Either something bad happens on the street where the light was out, and then you beat the news crew and the police out of here trying to fix it, or you have to go for months and months and months until they eventually get to you.
I was gonna say, I mean, I'm picking on cities when I say creepiness. There's a lot of weird stuff that goes down in rural Wisconsin. Just saying.
Really?
I mean, we are like serial killer, like, right? Though Jeffrey Dahmer was in the city of Milwaukee.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of weird stuff. I like writing things in small towns because, you know, people pretend like they're all sweetness and light, but
Listen to the audiobooks and they were fantastic.
yeah,
Yeah,
really
it
good.
was, the narrator was spot on.
Shantae
Yeah.
McCormick, she's from Chicago, so she sort of has that voice down.
Yeah.
I was lucky to get her.
Did you have a say in that?
They came
Yeah.
to me. This is the person that we've selected, and she was great. She was absolutely great. She got Harry's voice down perfectly.
A good like Chicago accent.
Yeah.
Oh, I came across some lines in the books that I don't know why they tickled me so, but one of them was where one of the characters, what the teenager was saying, didn't know the cops were in the unmarked cop car and called them idiots. And then Vera said, "Step this way to the idiot mobile, please." I marked that as, I love this line.
Do you have another one?
One of them was, it was talking about, the interactions with the cops and doesn't mean we have to socialize. And then Vera said, well, we're not socializing. I don't know, just some of them just like that were just clever and funny. I liked it.
Well, and I think that's true. The banter between the cops is just very well done. Whether they're poking at each other or sticking up for each other in a way, or, Vera's making these inquiries that are being rebuffed, by Harry. She's saying, yeah, no, we're not doing this. So just really fun to read.
One more that I really like, when all the cops went into the women's bathroom. I was like, that was great. You thought of that, that was awesome.
Well, and it was like, they all knew something was up, and then she finally confides in them, and they're like grabbing their coats and they're ready to go, get the guy,
Because that's the point where they become a team, because before that,
Yes.
right, Harriet's pushing everybody away, including Vera. She doesn't want any parts of this. In fact, when Griffin tells her that, well, I'm going to put you with Lee, she almost literally begs her not to. She does not want another female partner. She does not want somebody that she has to get close to. And so with that point in that bathroom is the point where that pivots and that changes and they become a team and they have each other's back, and it's genuine. So it takes her a while to get there. But once she gets there and once the teams comes together, then we've got another phase. We've got a different part of this character, because now she's got people. She's got people that she answers to, or sort of has to take responsibility for, and they for her. And so now we have a different spot. So every little book, every little chapter, a little bit closer to where she needs to be. But it's not easy. I don't want it to be easy. I don't want it to be cute. I want it to sort of be real. Okay, I want it to sort of take as long as it's going to take, because that's how usually most of us go. We don't make really grand gestures or grand movements. It's little spaces, little steps, little steps forward, a little one back. It's tough. It's hard. And so I want it to be hard for Harriet too. So she's got her team now, and now we have to figure out what happens next.
Right. So that's exciting for book 4, because now she's got her people.
Yeah, she's got her people, but still stuff happens.
For her moving to a new precinct, at the beginning of this series, and she'd worked with a partner who has committed suicide in the previous, place, just starting over anywhere. I think people can relate to that. And then she's so guarded, but some of her kind of, I don't know, OCD, like kind of grief tendencies. Like she keeps paper clips. And like then every day she puts another marble in the jar, takes it out of a box, puts it in a jar or like a vase. I forget what it is in her house. And it's the number of days since her son has died. And it's just like things that like tangible, tiny little items that sort of keep her grounded, I guess, in a way. I mean, it was something that added a interesting layer there. And then of course it starts to get noticed. And then her partner is like seeing the little piles of them on her desk and knows how really that she didn't go home for very long at night. And she's really been sitting there going through things. So I mean, it's something, a detail as small as that adds, you know, depth and layers to the story. So I don't know. I just think a lot of that's very, very cool.
I wish I could say I planned it, but of course,
but people will say that too once in a while. Once in a while, you know, people say that about something I wrote and I went, oh yeah, that wasn't on purpose. It just came to me. And then later on I went, oh yeah.
That she picked up that first, I remember what scene it was, but she picked up a thumbtack. And she put it in her pocket and thinking that nobody saw her. But that's what she needs to do at that phase in her life to get to the next moment, to the next hour, to the next day. And I thought that was a sort of an interesting thing that somebody would have to mark time like that. I mean, we know grief, we know loss, we've all lost people. But to be that low that it would take something as a tangible as a thumbtack or a piece of string or whatever to sort of get her through the next point. I thought it was an interesting layer. And so we'll try to figure out, she doesn't do that so much in book 4 because she's getting better. I kind of like that she's getting a little better. She's learning to sort of get herself out of that spot. So she doesn't need the thumbtack so much. And the vase, I think, will probably go. I'm not done writing it yet, but I can sort of envision that vase going away. Her picking up that vase with all those marbles on it and throwing it away. And when she gets to that point, I think we're going to be, you know, in a good spot, you know, but it's going to take some time to sort of get there.
I really want her to sell that house.
A weird place to live, right? I mean, you want to be reminded of that 24/7, especially when you only have one chair and, you know, facing the window, facing the tree. You got to get out of that spot. And she hasn't found a way to sort of be able to let that go yet.
No one can help her do that. No one can make her do that. No one can help her do it. Like here we are, like she's the real person.
She's gonna be sitting there at 5:30 in the morning waiting for me to show up.
Aren't they all real people? I think our characters are always real people. They're just, you know, they're as real to us as people we see, you know, in our lives. The little bits and pieces that you learn about her family, like her dad was a cop. We don't know that that's important necessarily until it is important. There's little bits like that all over the place. And then there's nothing that you do that's not for a purpose. I mean, everything seems to serve a purpose in the story, or maybe it didn't mean to in the beginning, but it does later. Tiny details that come back and go, I'm like, aha, I remember. And I'm like trying to go back. I mean, on my Kindle and I'm trying to find the spot where something got mentioned.
I would like to say that was well planned, but of course it isn't.
I think maybe some of it was. Subconsciously, perhaps.
Maybe.
Maybe. I don't know.
That trick from Agatha Christie, that's exactly what she does. She gives you like 10, 15 details, and out of that 10, 15 details, only 2 or 3 might be important. And you have to, as the reader, have to figure out which one of these details out of this long list of things that she's given you is the information that you need. So that's kind of like I try to sort of follow that sort of thinking. And so I give you everything you need. I just give it to you in a way that you're going to have to really look for it. Because when you go back and you say, oh, it was there all the time, but you missed it. You were looking at the other 12 things. And it was only the 1-2 things that you sort of should have been paying attention to. So I sort of, after years of reading Agatha Christie and sort of figuring out that that's what she did, I said, well, let me see what I can do with that. And it seems to work. So, you sort of, it's like being a magician. You sort of, put your attention here. And while you're over here, razzle dazzle, there's one thing over there that you sort of looked over while you were looking at the other dazzler things, is the one you needed. So, whatever.
Do you ever go back and take out or put in clues or, that or things that you know once you get to the end that you need to, drop in different spots?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. I'm always going back because, oh, I think of a more interesting angle. Wouldn't it be better if this happened as opposed to that? That'll give me a little bit more tension, a little bit another turn of the screw. And so I always go back and so to make it so that it fits as I go through it. So,
Yeah.
something else might happen that sort of elevates this scene. Go back again, elevate it, give you the clues, move forward. So I'm doing that constantly as I'm writing, maybe a million times. And I think a lot of writers do that too. That one pass is not your only pass. It's like,
Right.
you have plenty of time to sort of go back and make it fuller, enrich it, sort of make it more leveled and multi-layered. And so it's wonderful that you get to be able to do that. And it's not one pass and you're done. You can I'll always go back and make it as full as you can possibly make it, more complicated, more tense filled, and make your characters more alive. So luckily, I like that. I like going back. Most people don't like revisions. I kind of love them because it gives you an opportunity to sort of, build things out.
So if you say you go back and you tweak something because, oh gosh, I should have done this in chapter 5. And then you're like, and then there's sort of like that domino effect where you've got to then double check that every time this thing that was this thing gets mentioned, it's got to be, switched around. I don't know. I like that level of editing and, finessing. How long does it take you to do your first draft?
Well, I have 10 months to write it.
But that includes your editing time.
Yeah, but I edit as I go along. You're not supposed
Oh, okay. Oh, I should have asked that.
That's the rule. You're supposed to because I'm an editor, so I can't leave like a comma out of place or put a semicolon where a semicolon doesn't belong. I mean, so by the time I get to the end, I've gone through it maybe 15, 20 times, back and forth, sort of fixing it as I go, which is why I write very slowly. Some days I get up at 5:30 and I might write a paragraph, and that's it because that's all the time I have. Some days I might get up at 5:30 and write 5,000 words. It just depends on where I am in the process, and how fast I can sort of go through whether or not I know what's going on. Now, if I know what's going on when I leave the night before, I'm good. I can sort of steamroll through it. If I leave it and I am stuck in a corner and I get stuck in a corner a bazillion times as I'm writing a book, I paint myself into a corner and have absolutely no idea how I'm going to get out of it. And it might take a night's sleep
Yeah.
or a V8 or a trip to Twizzlers or a hot bath or a trip to the movies. I mean, something to sort of get my brain working again. And then I meet it again the next morning. But I have to know where I'm going. I don't usually. And so it's back and forth, pinball in a pinball machine until I get what the story's about, and then I'm good to go. But it takes quite a while for me to get to that point. I mean, in this book that I'm writing right now, I think I spent the first maybe couple of months just thinking, not writing anything, just thinking about where Harriet was in her life, where we left her in the last book, where she needed to go in the book that was coming up, because she's got to change, as I said, and what that change might look like. She's looking for answers in the end of the last book. She needs to know what happened. And so we answer those questions in echo, and she's got to figure out what she does with that information now. She's got the answer that she was seeking. She knows she was right all along. And now she's at a point now what? Now what? My son is still dead. I still am divorced. My partner is still gone. I have the answers that I wanted, but now what? And so now we're at the now what phase. So we find out what in the next book. It's titled Edge. Because apparently one word titles are my thing now. And not only one word titles, but one word titles with 4 letters in it. So Edge.
Oh, they are. They are all 4 letters, aren't they?
Ask me. Anyway, so Edge is the next one, and she has the answer that she needed. Now what? And we give her another case that seems impossible, and she has to sort of figure out what her life looks like from this point on. So this will be the last book before the break. I'll probably come back to Harriet maybe after a couple of books are under my belt, and we'll see where we pick her up in the next one. But now what? And we figure out what that is, and hopefully it's a forward propulsion and not something that sort of sends her back.
I like the guy that makes the good hot cocoa.
Yeah, me too.
Right?
So
Well,
what happens with him? We'll see. She's not
I
ready.
know, I don't know. Well, we'll see where yeah, I mean, maybe we have to wait for the fifth or sixth book way down the line to know what's going to happen there. I don't know. But she's a delight. The cast of characters is so good. I would love to see this made into a TV series. I just think you'd have so many people gravitating to the stories. Not everybody's a reader, you know, but I think it would adapt really well to the screen. Everybody's nodding, just so you know.
Scared about that. I mean, so my Harriet might be somebody different Harriet. I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
That's true. I mean, there is something about the way we read and how we picture people, you know, picture the characters that once they're cast, like for instance, like Will Trent. Did we picture Will Trent the way Will Trent's been cast? I don't know. I didn't.
Cast like Cameron Diaz. I mean, that's gonna mess my whole world up. I mean,
Right? Yeah, I know. See, it's just not right. So, I mean, that is a problem. It could, you know, there'd be all the people that are disappointed. You know, some people will be happy, but I just would love that for you. I just think that this is such a good, it's cinematic already. And I just think it would lend itself to that. And then you should stay on as executive producer so that you get to make sure they cast the right person.
I'm too busy. I'd have to go out of the house and everything. I mean,
I'm rearranging your life for you, Tracy.
put shoes on. I mean,
I do think though, the times that books have been, series have been optioned, if the author stays somewhat involved, that often it stays truer, you know, to the story. And maybe that's not always the case, but I mean, I can think of a few where I'm like, oh, okay, I wonder if the author was involved, and then I look it up and I'm like, usually this is stuff that I read, like a lot of, you know, like paranormal type stuff, or like Diana Gabaldon was involved, you know, with the Outlander series and stuff like that. But so what do you like to read when you do have spare time to read? Do you read suspense, thrillers, police procedurals
I read
at all?
everything.
I mean, you said you like literary work.
No, I like really, I like PI novels. That's
Yeah.
sort of my sweet spot. I like police procedurals. I like historical fiction. I like everything that's interesting. I read all the time. I always have. I've always got a book somewhere, one or two. I'm reading Rachel Housel Hall's new book now, the last one. Phenomenal. I've never read what was it called, Romantasy. This is my
Yeah.
first foray into that. A little weird, but interesting. So I kind of like her writing. So I'm along for the ride. But
Yeah.
I'm always reading. I read all day long, not all day long, but you know, when I have my rest period at the end of the day after I've done these two jobs and my brain is fried, sort of reading for an hour is my sort of decompression time. So I've always got a book open, one or two. And that's my thing. I always reading, writing. I think writers who read are way ahead of the game. In fact, over those who don't read. That's how you sort of elevate your craft. I mean, you're reading good stuff. You're trying to write good stuff. And the more you read, the better you get.
Yeah, I think that's true. I was on a panel discussion once and someone was talking about how they were having trouble making their plot solidify or whatever. And someone else on the panel was like, do you read in this genre? Do you read? Oh, I don't read at all, they said. And we all went, okay, there you go. Like, there's your answer. Like, this is why this isn't coming together. You don't read stories with good plots, so you don't know how to craft a good plot. You don't know one when you see it because you're not used to it.
It particularly helps you with pacing, right? So you sort of see how things move. You know that you've got a clunker in the middle. Most people sort of have that sort of slump. There's a way to avoid that. So you have to sort of read enough in the genre that you're writing, but even if not your genre, just to see how other people sort of solve that problem. And then the more you do it, you know, the better you get. I mean, you try it out and practice makes perfect, and you're always sort of getting to that next level. So you have to read. You have to read.
You know, that was what we said to this poor person standing up with their question. We were very puzzled. We're like, please read. And we were in the meeting room at a library. And so we were like, just go over there.
Just lazy.
Go get your library card and go. Yeah. So one of my favorite police procedurals, although it's futuristic, is the Eve Dallas, the J.D. Robb, Nora Roberts writing as J.D. Robb. I was curious if you've ever read any of those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. I mean, those are fun because
I-
there's the futuristic stuff, you know.
Basically a police procedural.
Yes.
You know, in the futuristic times, same character arc, development. Also, yeah, I love them. She's an excellent writer. Actually, I was sitting in somewhere reading one of these books and I was crying. I mean, no book has ever made me real cry outside of my house, and this one did. And that's real good writing. Whatever genre it is, whatever it is, if a writer can get you to have some kind of emotion, laughing, crying, whatever, that
Yes.
writer has won. And so I'm a fan
Yes.
for life.
Yeah. I remember crying. I was on a long flight home from somewhere and I was reading Should I Stay? I think it's Should I Stay by Gail Forman. And I'm like, I'm bawling in my seat. And it's like when the lights are really low, you know, and everyone's supposed to be asleep. And the stewardess is like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, it's just this book. It's this book. But yeah, I mean, that, you know, you got some good writing going on.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. And the
yeah.
same is done with Janet Ivanovich. I was sitting in the doctor's office waiting room, laughing my hiney off because it was so funny. So laughing or crying, some kind of emotion from your reader, and you have won the game. And you just have to get yourself to that point where you can sort of have those characters and that story leap off of
Yes.
that page and affect somebody, either a good way or a bad way, but have some kind of effect. So that's what you want. That's what you sort of aim for. That's what you sort of pull your hair out for. That's what you work
Exactly.
for. So, you have to get to that point, and it takes a long, long time sometimes, especially
It
for
does. It does. Janet Ivanovich makes me laugh. Stephanie Plum, her grandma,
yeah,
always getting in
Grandma
trouble.
Maida, yeah.
I wake my husband up laughing at those books. And I'm always like, I always remind myself that I should probably read those at a different time of day, not at like 1 a.m. because I laugh. But yeah, I don't know. There's so much good stuff out there, but you're right. It's, when you're reading things like that and then, hoping you can, draw the inspiration in from that. But I think that people probably read your books like that, hoping that they can write like you, because you're a fabulous writer. I cannot wait to find out what happens in book 4. We trust you. We just know you're going to just do something great with her in book 4. And I don't think that we've ruined it too much for anybody who hasn't read all the books here tonight. So, but that's a risk you take when you come to this discussion, whether or not we're going to give away any secrets. Is there anything you want to add tonight, Tracy, before we let you go?
No,
We appreciate
I
it.
think, I
We
think you know
appreciate it
enough
very
about me.
much.
5:30 in the morning, I will be up bright and
I
early
know. It's bedtime.
with my juice and my Twizzlers.
I will never forget that. And you know what? I'll let you know if I try that and what I think of it. You may not care what I think of it, but I mean, I'm going to like give that a try and we'll be like, that would be funny to send you a picture of Twizzlers
That would
and
be
like.
great. It has to be strawberry. Don't try any other flavors. Strawberry Twizzlers. It can't be.
Oh, wait, there are those other flavors are bad.
Yeah,
No,
absolutely.
you got to use the original.
There
So,
you go.
all right. So are you headed to Left Coast Crime this year?
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll also be at Bashkan, I think, in New Orleans.
Okay.
So I think those are the main 2 that I'm going to.
Yep.
So I'll see you there.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks
We
for having
appreciate you. All
Happy
right.
reading, everybody.
Take care.
Bye-bye.